In today's episode, Chef Kendra will show us how to make her delicious kosher veal moussaka using Prairie Street Prime's Kosher Veal Premium Ground Blend.
Oh my God, those flavors, those spices. This is a winner. Welcome to the Prairie Street Prime Culinary Kitchen. I'm your chef, Chef Kendra. Do you already like us and follow us on YouTube? If not, now's a great time to go down and click onto that subscribe button so that way you can follow us every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We're always posting new content. We got your back in the kitchen on how to cook these amazing meats. Now, what are we making today? Today, we're going to Greece, and I'm gonna make for you a kosher moussaka. But I'm not just gonna do it the normal way. No. Today, we're using ground veal. Typically, a moussaka is done with ground beef or ground lamb. So we're gonna go Prairie Street Prime luxury style and have some of that premium ground veal blend. The other thing is, because our kosher observing friends do not eat meat and dairy together, typically moussaka is not kosher. So I'm going to be doing the bechamel or the white sauce with a non-dairy butter and a non-dairy milk. We're gonna be using soy milk. Typically white sauce is butter and cream, but not today. And it's gonna be luxurious. So let's get started. I just wanna point your attention to something that I pre-prepped for us. It is the eggplant, okay? So I took a nice large eggplant. I'm not gonna be using the Sicilian, the smaller ones for this. I want a big hunk of eggplant. So I cut them into about 1/2-inch slices and salted them. This salt process is super important because it draws out the bitterness of said eggplant. So slice it, salt it, let it sit. Let's go over to the stove so we can cook up this veal. So we have a couple things happening over here. It's a labor of love recipe, but I'm telling you, it's perfection. So I'm going to use some kosher extra virgin olive oil. Nice hot pan. And I want to sweat out my onions. Onion. I want them to be a nice translucent color. Okay. And a little bit of that browning is okay because browning just adds flavor. Coarse kosher salt. And I'm gonna add in my tomato paste now because I actually want the tomato paste to cook, or I'm sorry, to toast, quote unquote, if you will. What that does is, this is already super condensed flavor and it's actually gonna caramelize and soften the acidity of it just enough. Okay, so I'll make a little space for it. Get in there, swirl it around. Start mixing it up with the onions. One of the things I love about this dish is that you're layering flavor upon flavor upon flavor, and every time you add a new level to it, it just deepens and makes the rest of the end product that much more lush. Now I'm gonna make another space. I like using heating ranges while I'm cooking. So obviously the fire is right in the center of the pan, which means that the outer sides of the pan, while they're still really hot, they're just a little less in that direct heat, right? So they're in more of the indirect heat. That means that right here in the center, I can add my ground veal. And these guys on the outside won't burn. Okay. Just work on slowly breaking this up. And I'm actually gonna add a little bit of water into this first stage of it. Okay. One of the things I love about working with the Prairie Street Prime Premium Ground Veal Blend is that it has such a nice light flavor, but there's this almost magical amount of fat that's strewn throughout it. So what it does, especially for a dish like this where there are so many big flavors, it allows, I don't know, it just becomes silky and the texture is just perfection, but the flavoring, there's just that like beautiful like essence of meat dancing along the palate. Just break it up nicely. And again, because this has such a nice marbling to it, that water that I added in while it's evaporating, it's allowing the fat to really start mixing out throughout the rest of the flavors. So I'm gonna add a little bit more salt here. Now I'm gonna add in a couple of my spices. I have just a pinch, about like a quarter of a teaspoon of cinnamon, a little bit, about maybe the half teaspoon of ground garlic. Okay, give that a mix. Again, I'm really trying to honor the fact that the veal is a lighter meat, so I want to stay nice and deft with the seasonings. All right, so it's starting to dry up kind of nicely now. I'm going to go ahead and add in some pureed tomato. About half of this kosher dry red wine. I can drink the rest of that. Just incorporate everything. Perfect. Ah, that cinnamon, it's just enough. Now for those quintessential Greek flavorings, oregano and fresh parsley. Give this a mix. Now I'm also not going to salt again. Again, I want to keep things nice and light on this. This is one of those dishes where if you want to make it richer, you totally can. You just add more spices to it and a little bit more salt, done. But if you want to have it like for a nice early fall, late summer meal, oh, perfection. Let me move this to the side. It's just gonna kind of simmer down, thicken up a little bit, which is what I want. Now I'm gonna move on to our kosher, non-dairy bechamel sauce. Sometimes, you can use bechamel sauces for pastas, like fettuccine Alfredo, something like that, right? But I want this for the moussaka, so I actually want it to be a little bit thicker. That way it gets all bubbly and stuff on top. You'll see. Let's go. Non-dairy butter. I have my saucepan here on a low to medium heat, and I want to keep an eye on it because you're going to have to move the pan and keep whisking and do all that fun stuff. So non-dairy butter in. Let this melt. Now, you'll notice here I have ample amounts of all-purpose flour, white flour, kosher all-purpose flour, and I also have ample amounts of non-dairy milk. I am using a soy milk. You should go ahead and experiment with an almond milk or an oat milk. I've tried them both. They're totally fine, but let us know in the comments below which one you prefer. You're just going to be getting slightly different flavor with each, but hey, actually, I think that the almond milk one and the oat milk add a nice little bit of nuttiness to it. The soy milk tends to be a little bit sweeter, but I'm not adding any sugar to my meat, so sweeten it up, baby. All right, butter is melted now. I'm gonna kind of go in about a spoonful-ish sprinkling at a time. This goes fast, so you wanna whisk and keep it from burning. Get it in, we'll go 1, and we'll go 2. Fab. All right, whisk away. So this process is called making the roux. The roux is your butter and your flour, and you're toasting the flour in said butter to get this nice, thick, pasty thing. Okay. It's looking great. I want to go a little tiny bit thicker, and you'll see why. A little bit more, like a half. Excellent. And what's nice now is it's actually pulling itself away from the pan. Okay. Now I'm not going to talk because this part is loud, but I'm going to slowly drizzle and continually whisk my non-dairy milk. Okay, so right now I have it to this nice, like kind of thin-ish texture. I'm gonna season it up now, and then I'm going to continue to play around with the consistency of it. So for my seasonings, I have some ground white pepper, a pinch of nutmeg. You know me, I love cumin. Right in. Whisk. And a little bit of salt. Beautiful. I'm gonna thicken it up just a little bit more. Boop. Then just whisk until smooth. Okay, perfect. Let's assemble. All right, time to assemble. So I have that moussaka, which is that amazing meat mixture with the tomato sauce and those herbs, lightly seasoning that ground veal, and then the non-dairy bechamel sauce. So let's start assembling. Some extra virgin kosher olive oil, and then layer it up, babe. Our eggplant, just give it a little dab. Put them all in. Whoop. See how much it thickened up? Meat blend right on top. Okay, spread this out. Okay, so a nice base of that. Now just a few of the tomatoes around here. I'm actually gonna kind of concentrate them out to the edges a little bit. Right in between those eggplants. And a couple here in the center. Perfect. We use the rest of those for the topping. Another layer of our eggplant. Okay. Fill it all in. Okay. The rest of our moussaka right on top. Perfect. Cover up everything. A couple more little tomatoes here. Now the bechamel, just right over top. Let me give it a little spread. I mean, you take your time making something, you want it to be pretty close to perfect, right? Just a little bit to the edges. Cover it up. If you're using a baking dish, you can take some heavy duty foil, cover it. It's going to go into a 350-degree oven for about an hour before we take off the lid and then let the top just brown. So here we go. Clean up and take some time off, kids. We'll see you right back. It's moussaka time, baby. Let's take it out of the oven. Absolutely stunning. Okay, so it went in covered, it came out uncovered. How did that happen? Well, the last 10 minutes, I really wanted this top, this amazing bechamel to kind of brown up for me, and that's exactly what it did. Okay, I'm just gonna dig right in. I can't even wait. Oh my gosh, it smells so incredible, and the eggplant is just falling apart. This is gorgeous. Love a little parsley, so I'll just give it a little sprinkle in here. Brightens things up a little bit. A nice little sprinkle from my plate. Let me dig right in. I love how this veal is just falling apart right on the spoon. Oh my God, those flavors, those spices. This is a winner. Here's the thing, guys. You start with a super high quality meat, such as this ground veal from Prairie Street Prime. You add in these quality methods that we're teaching you through our culinary kitchen. You end with these beautiful, decadent dishes. We're not just giving you the meat and telling you good luck and saying to go have fun. We're saying, have fun, let us show you what to do. Try this at your next summer, fall, winter, spring gathering. It is a winner. Make sure that you join us every Sunday right here on youtube.com/Prairie Street Prime. Our culinary kitchen is whipping up something great every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you next time. Subscribe to our channel now and set your notifications so you don't miss our latest recipes and chef-led tutorials. Then head over to prairiestreetprime.com to shop for your next big meal.